Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Fei Fei and joining me today is Steve Hatherley. Hello, Steve.
Hi, thanks for having me back once again.
And today, Steve, I'm not sure if you noticed my shirt today looks a bit different from your regular shirt or t-shirt.
From my regular t-shirts?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks very different.
Yeah.
Yours is, this is audio only, so I'll describe it to our audience. It's a beige-ish yellow short sleeve with the collar that is something that looks traditional somehow.
Yes, actually.
But it's not Hanfu, I feel.
No, it's not Hanfu. It's actually modern adaptation of the Mongolian robe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I'm Mongolian.
Yeah.
In case you don't know that.
I knew that.
Yeah, I'm Mongolian. So that brings me to the topic of this episode is about 民族. I think we can translate that into ethnic groups in English, but I don't think the English translation of ethnic groups can represent all of the meanings behind 民族.
Well, ethnicity in English is defined as like a group of people with a shared culture, language, history, things like that. People who belong to that same group. But 民族 is a little different.
It's a little different. I think 民族 is a very Chinese special concept because here in China we have 56 ethnic groups.
This is one of the first most interesting things that I learned after moving to China for the first time. I didn't realize that before I moved.
Oh, really? So the majority of the people is Han people, which is one of the ethnic groups, and the rest mostly around 10% belongs to other groups, for example, Mongolian, for example, Tibetan, for example, Uyghurs, and we even have smaller groups, like I'm not sure if you heard about Tujia or Shui, so the other 55 different groups. But when it comes to 民族, the differences, I think, very briefly, it's a very complex topic. I think we even have scholars writing theses and papers on the differences between ethnicities and ethnic groups and 民族.
So the Han people in China account for about 90%
of the population.
Of the 1.4 billion.
Yes.
So that means the other 55 groups account for only 10% of the population. So, and I don't know how that breaks down, but it leads me to believe that those other 55 groups, their populations are relatively small.
Well, it's on an average sense, but when it comes to regional sense, for instance, we have autonomous regions. We even have autonomous prefectures, autonomous counties and towns and cities. In that cases, sometimes in that particular region, Han is a minority ethnic group.
So on a national level, yes, it would be seen as a very small percentage of the population, those 55 groups. But when you travel to the places where those populations live, they would represent the majority in that area.
For instance, I think it's a very regional thing. For instance, where my husband is coming from, Fujian, is a very Han-central province. I think 95, we can even argue more than 95% of the population is of the Han ethnic groups. But when it comes to Xizang or Xinjiang, the majority of the population belongs to other ethnic groups. In Yunnan, the situation can be more complex because out of the 56 ethnic groups in China, more than 50 has a place living in Yunnan.
Oh, really?
So it's that diverse.
Wow.
Yeah, I would see in terms of ethnic groups, Yunnan is one of the most diverse regions in China.
The whole country is represented in Yunnan.
Yes, on some level. And only some ethnic groups you can only find in Yunnan or the neighboring regions and areas.
Fascinating.
So that brings us to 民族 and all the related terms and all the fascinating cultures and customs behind it. But first of all, we need to start with the concept 民族. And when it comes to the minority ethnic groups, we call them 少数民族.
少数民族. So 少数 means minority?
Yes. 少 meaning few. small in number, 数 meaning number, so 少数 meaning minority, and 民族 is ethnic groups, 民族. I think in some cases, some scholars are now arguing, even outside of China, that we should only use 民族 to reference the Chinese ethnic groups so that we can keep all the connotations behind. But when it comes to describing, I mean, it can be very difficult for people that are not originally from China to understand the situation of 民族, of having more than 50 different groups with different cultures, different customs living together. I think I've had friends asking me, that must be chaotic. But in fact, growing up in Mongolia, we are also having a lot of different ethnic groups. We have the Mongolians, of course, the Han, of course, Manchu, Hui ethnic groups, Dawo ethnic groups, and we even have Russian ethnic groups and Korean ethnic groups. So we've never had any issues when it comes to the differences we have culturally. And so I think in China, we have a fruit to represent the situation of having different ethnic groups coexisting and living together in one society.
What would that be?
It's pomegranate.
A pomegranate. Why would the pomegranate represent all that?
Pomegranate in Chinese, 石榴.
石榴.
Yes. Pomegranate is features with a lot of seeds inside. But within that seed, they have dozens, even hundreds of different seeds, but they fit closely together in one fruit, in one, so within each other. So it's, for some people, each ethnic group is one of the prominent great seeds. 石榴籽.
石榴籽.
And then when it comes to the whole of Chinese nation, we are a whole big 石榴.
One big pomegranate.
Yes. And we have expressions like 像石榴籽一样紧紧地抱在一起. We live tightly together, stand closely with each other like a pomegranate.
That's interesting. We have an expression in English like peas in a pod. I don't think that's an equivalent, but it kind of is the same idea.
Yeah, very similar.
Living inside, but the shared.
Yes, but basically describing that the sense of unity and harmony, which is in Chinese is 团结, that we are united together, even though we share similarities, but also we have differences.
When you were growing up in such a diverse community, I wonder if the education would be a little bit different in the sense of teaching children about other ethnic groups that exist within the same community. Like, I'm thinking in the area where it's 95% Han, maybe a class like that in elementary school wouldn't be as important as it would be in Inner Mongolia, where you have so many different students from so many different ethnic groups in the same classroom.
I think when it comes to classroom and the educational system, I don't see big differences, because for lesson 1 in any Chinese elementary classes, the number 1 lesson is to teach children about the 56 ethnic groups here in China and the differences they share.
And that's nationwide.
That's nationwide. That's in the Chinese textbook, but for the Chinese language. I think the differences actually come in everyday life. For instance, the way we celebrate our different festivals, the way we wear up different costumes. And when we are happy, for instance, we show our happiness in different ways. For instance, there is an expression very popular among young Chinese these days about, in China, when people are happy and in the mode of celebration, 55 of the ethnic groups start to sing and dance. And the Han people will stand by and applaud for the dancing and singing because they can't do that.
Oh, the Han group is not known for their singing and dancing?
Definitely not comparable for, people from Inner Mongolia or Xinjiang.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, so in everyday life, I think growing up, for instance, in Mongolia, we have a massive festival in the middle of summer. Is called Naadam Festival.
Naadam.
Naadam.
What's Naadam?
Naadam is actually in Mongolian, but in Chinese it's 那达慕.
Naadam.
Yes, in Mongolian, it means entertainment and games. So the festival is basically a bunch of different activities celebrating our traditions like horse riding, like archery, like wrestling, and even singing, dancing, and a lot of drinking in some ways. But so that normally happened in July. That's also one of the most beautiful season for grasslands as well. And also a lot of people currently that outside of Inner Mongolia would go to grasslands and enjoy different Naadam celebrations.
So Naadamu in Chinese is the name of the festival?
Yes, it's called Naadamu 大会.
So are you good at horseback riding, I wonder?
Sadly, no. I grew up in cities. I don't have a lot of chance riding a horse down a main road in the middle of the city.
You should go to one of those festivals then.
Yeah, but I've seen a lot of the performances. For example, when it comes to Mongolian wrestling, we're very famous for our wrestling. But in Chinese, it's called 博客.
博客.
Yeah, so we have, I think, especially for the males in the Mongolian ethnic groups, wrestlers will compete in different tournaments and they don't have different weight classes. So everybody is to compete together.
No.
That would be brutal.
That would be brutal for the skinny guys.
Yes, but you can see that. If you've been to Inner Mongolia, we define skinny on a different standard.
How?
I'm the skinniest ones in Mongolia.
Okay.
In Mongolia.
Okay.
My family is like, what is happening to you in Beijing? Why
You're
do you
wasting away.
Yeah, why do you look like this? But another very prominent customs of the Mongolian is about the singing. We have what we call long song, that we sing the beauty of our grasslands, we sing about the birds, we sing about love and relationship and family. If you have time, if you have a chance, do search up Mongolian long song.
Long song.
Yeah, online, you will listen to all the beautiful songs that were singing in a very long and slow way.
How long is one song?
I think in one particular piece, they can sing for 3 hours.
Oh.
Yeah. It's also a way of singing.
The same person keeps singing for 3 hours.
Yes, it's also, traditionally back in, 2,000 years ago when the long song first started, it's mostly sung when people are herding sheep on the grassland. There is nobody else, just yourself. And you could be herding these sheep for, a whole day.
Sure.
So singing for a really long time. And when you step into that vast land, that you can't see the end of it. It's very natural for you to start to sing in a very slow and long-tuned kind of way. So it's why it's called the long song.
So is that tradition still continued today? Because
Yes.
society has gotten so used to short-form videos and micro-dramas and stuff. People's attention spans are so short. So that still is a part of festival culture, celebrations, things like that?
That's another very interesting point, is that even in today's pop songs in China, they use a lot of long song elements in the pop songs in Chinese. You can hear many sort of fusion music when it comes to the Mongolian long songs, and also different other singing strategies from the Mongolian ethnic groups used in pop music, in modern contemporary art.
Interesting. What does Mongolian wrestling look like?
Mongolian wrestling, it's a radio show, so it's very difficult to describe.
Do you wear like a costume, or do you wear...
I won't say it's a vest, but it's more like a small cape, only covering the shoulders. And of course pants, but short pants, sometimes boots. And that's it.
Have you tried it before?
Of course not.
I thought
I'm the skinny one.
I thought you were going to say, of course I have. What are you talking about?
I'm the skinny one. I have no way to compete with the rest of the wrestlers, with the rest of 博客.
博客.
Yes. And also horse riding is very important.
You've never been on a horse?
I've been on a horse, but I can't race.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, sure. That's a profession.
That's true. But that's, I think for Inner Mongolia, they have really long distance horse racing competitions every year. Sometimes you get to see 10-year-olds competing in these events.
Wow.
They can ride for like 3 to 4 hours.
How do you say everything in Inner Mongolia is 3 to 4 hours? I'm starting to think.
It's a vast land.
How do you say horse race? Well, horse is ma.
马
Ma. So how do you say horse racing?
is actually 赛马. 赛 meaning race.
Sai ma.
赛马. And they have like different standards when it comes to horse racing events. There is a racing in terms of speed. There is in terms of the techniques you are going to show on top of a horse.
Like the tricks.
Yeah, standing up, picking up things, so on and so forth. And also there is 骑射. 骑 meaning riding the horse, and 射 meaning shooting the archery.
Oh.
So you are literally shooting archeries on top of a horse.
And that would be for hunting, I guess. Well, for performance in festivals, but for hunting in a long time ago.
For wars, I guess. Because on the grassland, you don't have a lot of chance to hunt. There's not a lot of...
There's no hiding space for the animals, so
Yes.
they wouldn't hang out there.
Yes. So it's mostly, I imagine, for wars. But it's not only about Mongolian cultures in this episode. We do need to cover other ethnic groups as well. For example, Dai, which is one of the ethnic groups in Yunnan. And they have water splashing festival, 泼水节.
泼水, shui water.
Yeah, 节.
Jia
Festival.
Festival.
泼水节 is literally a festival to splash water as a way of giving blessings to others. And for other ethnic groups, for instance, one of the most famous ethnic groups as well is called the Miao Zu.
I've heard of the Miao Zu group before.
Yeah, because I think their design, their sense of fashion inspired a lot of luxurious brands internationally in their design.
Their big festival is at the New Year, is that correct?
Yeah, the Miao New Year is kind of celebrated at different times depending on the region, because when it comes to Miao ethnic groups, they live in different regions. Some of them live in Guizhou, some of them in Hunan or Hubei. So depending on the regions, they celebrated their New Year in different times, mostly after the autumn harvest.
Oh.
So around the 10th lunar month. And for the Miao people, that New Year festival marks the end of the harvest season, and so it's a time to honor their ancestors and also a chance for family reunions, so on and so forth.
The fashion, I've only seen photos of the fashion, but it's very elaborate, right?
Yeah, especially when it comes to their silver headpieces.
Crowns, necklaces, jewelry, things like that. It looks like royalty.
Yeah, and it's only, I think, for celebrations like the Miao New Year. It's not for everyday wear. In case our listeners haven't really tried one of the silver crowns, it's very heavy. I've tried that
really?
in Guizhou. It's very heavy. So it's only mostly for big events to honor the ancestors or big celebrations. But they do also have a lot of dances and singings. For instance, they have their lusheng performances. Lusheng is a traditional pipe instrument made from bamboo, and for the Miao New Year, people get together and play that instrument and dance together. So you see why when people say that the Han people are not really good at dancing and singing, because the rest of people celebrate their New Year by singing and dancing.
So it's not that the Han people are bad at singing and dancing, it's just that everyone else is better. By the way, do the Han people agree with you? I'm only speaking to Han. We don't have a Han person to defend themselves.
You know, when it comes to weddings, for instance, if you've been to one of the Uyghur weddings in Xinjiang, all of a sudden people start to sing and dance. No, it's not like somebody call on, it's time for dance. Very naturally, people start to sing and dance. But for the Han people, it will be very difficult for them to start to dance at wedding, even for big celebrations like weddings.
What is the reason for this?
So I think that has to do with the cultures. Because for the Han people, for the majority of the history, mostly they live in bigger communities compared to ethnic groups. So I think on some level you have to be disciplined most of the time.
So would you say that that's reflected in other parts of everyday life? For example, are Han people generally more, and by the way, we're speaking in generalizations here for the sake of conversation, but do you think Han people are generally more serious than other ethnic groups in China? I'm like, if you do a stand-up comedy night in Fujian, it's going to be really tough to impress the crowd.
Well, I'm not sure about that angle. Currently, I think with people, traveling around the country, migrating to different regions, it's very difficult to tell, whether they're from the same or different ethnic groups just by their appearances.
Do people talk about it?
I don't think so. It's not something you would ask on...
Would that be rude?
No, it's just not something you would come up in your daily conversations. Unless, for instance, I dress up a little differently today and people would ask, what kind of costume are you wearing? Why is this shirt? Seems a little different from the rest of the everyday shirts. And also when it comes to food, I think is also one of the traits that you can tell the regions and the cultures this person comes from. For instance, when it comes to ethnic groups and people living in the south, they use a lot of bamboos in their cooking.
Okay.
So for instance, the Miao ethnic groups, they have 竹筒饭. They cook rice in the bamboo.
竹筒 is bamboo.
Yeah. And 饭 meaning rice.
Right.
竹筒 is the bamboo tube. So they cook rice in the bamboo tube. It is also one of the most iconic traditional dishes of several ethnic groups in southern China and southwest China. Basically, because, they have a lot of fresh bamboo tubes to be harvested. But when it comes to the northern part of China, lamb and mutton are very important ingredients. No matter you go to Inner Mongolia or Xinjiang, you will get a lot of mutton and lamb dishes.
Yum.
Yeah, very delicious. Like the 羊肉串, the chuar. I think you went to one of the wing places. They have a lot of very delicious 羊肉串, mutton skewers.
I have. They're everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And they are fantastic.
Yeah, and it's also one of the local delicacies of Xinjiang, belonging to, I'm not sure, they also have a lot of different ethnic groups in Xinjiang, and they all eat a lot of mutton and lamb.
And I'm sure there are a million recipes on how to prepare it too.
Yeah, different ways. For people in Xinjiang, they have this special 红柳. They call it red willow type of branches. They said if you barbecue the lamb using one of those branches, the taste would be different compared to other regular skewers.
You mean, so you use the branch as the skewer?
Yes, yes. So it's a very Xinjiang specialty. 红柳羊肉串.
That sounds amazing.
It's very, very delicious.
I've never been out to the Uyghur Autonomous Region, but I've had friends, I've had coworkers, obviously, who have been out there, but I've had friends who have been out there too, and they always talk about, number one, how beautiful it is, and number two, how much fun they have.
Yeah, and also the delicious food.
Yes.
For Xinjiang, the most iconic and important food, I guess, is the naan, is the flatbreads. And also 拉条子.
拉条子.
In English, it's translated as hand-pulled noodles. But for people in Xinjiang, they call noodles not as 面条, but as 条子.
Is that just a different
way of expression? So hand-pulled noodles is called 拉, meaning pull. 条子 is the noodle. For I think it's only in my city, when we are calling the hand-pulled noodles, we call them 抻面.
抻面.
抻 also meaning pull. It's just a different way of expression. And then 面 meaning noodles. So in English, they are all noodles, but I guess it will be difficult for people who are not really fluent in Chinese when you go to different places. And they have sometimes calling themselves 拉条子, sometimes calling themselves 拉面. Can be very confusing, but they are all noodles.
Is that common knowledge for Mandarin speakers? I ask because I'm curious to know about communication when you travel to different areas that speak different
they can understand you. If you go to Xinjiang, for instance, you ask for 拉面. They sometimes would come back and confirm with you, are you meaning a different kind of 拉面 or our local 辣条子?
Okay.
So they'll confirm with you in case of confusion. And another very prominent example is how they call onions.
Okay, what's
in
that?
Xinjiang. In Xinjiang, they call 皮牙子.
皮牙子.
Yeah, that's onions in Xinjiang. But outside of Xinjiang, we all call onions as 洋葱.
Totally different.
Completely different. There's not a even single character is the same.
So, would Mandarin speaker, like, does everybody know that, or you just happen to know that?
I happen to know that, I guess, because a lot of my friends go to Xinjiang. And they go to Xinjiang, people would say, do you need 皮牙子? And my friends are like, what is a 皮牙子? And they're like, you don't know 皮牙子?
That's awesome, though. I mean, it's reminiscent of Canada, where we have, French spoken in Quebec and large parts of New Brunswick and maybe part of Ontario as well, Nova Scotia. And you just go to a different part of the same country and you communicate differently. I find that to be really endearing.
And very, very, it's a fun exchange and experiences to learn the different ways to call onions.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these different kinds of food, you don't need to go to Xinjiang to have a taste of the latiaos or naan. You can have a taste here in Beijing as well.
Of course, yeah.
We have a number of Xinjiang restaurants just nearby. And also when it comes to the bamboo tube rice, the zhu tong fan, you can also have a try in the restaurants in Beijing.
Yummy.
So for those of us who are curious about the taste of this different delicious food, I do encourage you to search up a restaurant near you and to give it a try to the 辣条子 and naan and 羊肉串. But that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Fei Fei together with Steve Hatherley in the studio. For more episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cgtn.com. You can also listen to the show and read the script there. Remember, you can find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and much more. Just search for Takeaway Chinese. I'm Fei Fei. Bye-bye.
See you.